Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So today we are talking about a sketchbook haul, and it's kind of a collection of sketchbooks that I have gotten this year. A few of them are from last year, but you haven't seen them on the channel yet, so I thought I would include all of those and we'll go through them. We will paint in them. I'll talk a little bit about them, what I use them for, and yeah. I had wanted this video to be out on Saturday, so I'm really sorry it's a few days late, but yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first sketchbook that I'm going to show you here is the Arkademie one. So I saw this quite a few years ago on Tio's channel, and they were having a sale this year, so I grabbed one of those. I really love it, and I'll explain about that. Then we have some Moleskines, so I just kind of put the lemon green one to the side, and there's 3 Moleskines in the haul, so I am kind of showing you here. The other 2 are their limited edition Sakura ones. So we have like a pocket size and the A5 one as well, and they're both plain. And then this one here is not an actual sketchbook. This is from Velvet Raptor, and it's like a wedding book, but I really loved it, and I thought it would be really nice as just a really pretty sketchbook. This one here is by Koval, and this is a really beautiful one. Yeah, this is probably the most affordable one here. This is the Art Creations one. So what's really nice about this is you get quite a lot of pages in there, so yeah. And then this one here is actually a notebook, so I thought this would be really nice as an art journal. I'll go through and show you the paper in there and everything, but yeah, really nice one, a really fun one. Then we have just a soft cover Leuchtturm, and then this is a Tinne+Mia travels notebook, and then we have this really large Holbein one. So this is a drawing book. So my sister got one of these a few years ago in New York, and I saw these on Fine Art Store. So it's like a spiral bound, yeah, and I grabbed one of those. And then this is the Holbein as well. This is a White Ibis, so this is the watercolor version of their kind of sketchbooks, and I really love the paper. You can see, like last Christmas I think I got the smaller one, and then this year I got a larger one, so I really love the paper in those. So only 3 of these are actual watercolor paper in them, so these 3. So we will start with those. So we'll actually start with the Koval. This one is really beautiful. I absolutely love the mitered edges, and I love the amount of paper that you get in here. So I did use this in a couple of the videos already, the Rhinebeck one and the favorites, 2022 favorites. So you can see more of it in action in those videos. But I really love, like, they give you an extra piece of paper so you can test out the paper before you start the sketchbook, and they give you a little sampling of the other types of paper that they have as well. So it comes really beautifully packaged, and you can see here, like, it's got a elastic band that it comes with, and you can kind of, it shows you a few different ways to use that, like you can add pencil case or something under there, but you can see that, but behind that, below that, you get the extra different little sample pages. So yeah, it's just really nice to see that. My only downside with this is the cover. I don't really like the material I love the this book linen. It's like a herringbone book linen, but it's the Hahnemuller Nostalgie. So if I could have, you know, a book linen on this Koval sketchbook, it would be perfect. It's a really beautiful sketchbook. It's so well made as well. So yeah. So as usual, I'm just dropping some water on my palette here before we get started, and just kind of trying to think about what color palette to use for today and kind of what we'll do. So the first thing that I swatch here is Peach Pop. This is by Little Reverie Studio. Yeah, it's a really beautiful color, and you can see that I'm just using it off a dot card as well. So her shop is very affordable, and especially the little dot cards, you get so much value out of them. The first time I got the Peach Pop, she only had the dot cards left, and I'm still using it a couple of years later. So yeah, they're really lovely. And the only thing you can, so this is Daniel Smith French Ochre, but you can see there with the Peach Pop at the top where I've tried to kind of lift it a little bit. The only thing about this paper is, and this is not a fault of the sketchbook, this is just the I think it's the Fabriano Artistico paper. It kind of blends the watercolor. I have a bit of a hard time getting a gradient wash on it, so I think it kind of like smooths out the watercolor a little bit, which is perfect if that's the kind of thing you want, but I really like to try and get the variation there in a bit more of a gradient, which I find a little bit more difficult on this paper. But yeah, it's still a beautiful paper. I mean, I think paper that you try, you do have to kind of think about a little bit of a different way to change up your painting. You might have to either add more color or yeah, things like that. But so then I did the gold gouache. It's a Royal Talens gold gouache, and then I did the Daniel Smith lemon yellow. Actually, what am I saying? It was the Schmincke lemon yellow. So okay, so what I'm doing now is we're going to do kind of a little color blocked page, and I thought this was really interesting and would be a good way to try out a different sketchbook. I know that I often get questions on you know, ideas for you know, painting, and ideas for also if you're quite nervous to, you know, of what to paint and things like that. So we're just going to go through a couple of these sketchbooks and have a play with some different colors. We'll try color blocking things and then glazing some different little paintings over the top of them. So yeah, it's just a very low-key and easy way to get you into your sketchbook and inspired to start painting. You can start seeing kind of what colors go well next to each other, you know, how to apply things over the top. So yeah, really nice. I'm just using a Caran d'Ache Technalo pencil here to kind of do, just kind of put in a little color wheel there. And this was, so I'll kind of show you a bit later on in the video, but this is inspired by two things. At the beginning of the year, I was doing like a little square a day, some sort of a little thing in my monthly planner, and I'll kind of show you that. And we've done some videos on that, but also recently I found an artist called Kayla. I'll link her below, but really beautiful stuff. She does like stitch sampler paintings. They're so beautiful, and then also color block paintings, and I don't know, I just really love her style. So yeah, we're taking a little bit of inspiration from her today as well. And this is just, you know, hopefully you guys also find it to be a really inspiring and kind of refreshing way to just work in a sketchbook, try different things. So you'll see me here, like I put down a few different pinks, and then I just decide they don't really go well with the page, so I just lift those and then put more of an olive green over the top, but yeah. So you can see that I'm using my dip pen and ink quite a bit. The first time that I used it, that was the FW Shimmering Green ink, and the watercolor had dried before I used it over the top. But the second time there, I really like to sometimes use the Winsor & Newton Gold ink and let that kind of bleed into the watercolor a little bit, the wet watercolor. So I am just actually grabbing out something else I want to use, and yeah, there's also this bag. It's a Christmas present, and this was something that I saw at the Rhinebeck Festival, so if you watch that video, yeah. But okay, so I got this box of pastels out. You're going to see this in the upcoming haul video, which I am actually going to have to redo, and I'm kind of in the process of that, so that should be coming up pretty soon. But I've just grabbed out these pastels and I am kind of layering up with those as well. So really the beauty of doing a page like this is that you can just create squares, essentially, just, or you know, shapes, rectangles, and you can add different mediums over the top as well. So like you could just stick with watercolor. I'm also adding pastels. You could add oil pastels, some acrylic paint. You can see that I've used inks, so it just becomes a really fun page, and you know, a way to kind of try out a few different things. Like maybe there's something you've been thinking about, you know, would this work or would this work, and this is a really nice way to kind of implement that and see, you know, how it would work together. So you can see that I have the fancy G there as well, the kind of calligraphy G, and then a number. So I've been calling these pages Colour Garden, and I am numbering them as well. So I've done quite a few now, actually, in a few different journals and things. Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I was really enjoying the monthly pages, and I was doing like a little mini landscape, and then you know, colours and different little things, and I really loved how that looked. And yeah, I was really impressed to find Kayla's work and then see like you can, you know, create from all those components, you can create a really beautiful artwork. So yeah, okay, so we're on to the Arkademie sketchbook. So This one I'm going to talk a little bit more about in the haul video. I love the colour of the paper, so it's like a fawn coloured paper. It's the Fabriano Rosaspina, I think, and which isn't necessarily my favourite paper, but it does feel really nice. It's like, it's a little bit difficult to work on. I don't know, just I don't know, it's different. I think it's, anyway, I'm not really sure, but so you can see, because it's fawn coloured, I'm using the Schmincke Ice Blue to start with. It's got white in it, so it's a bit more like a gouache. It's a little bit more opaque, and yeah, I just decided to try and do this page really loosely. One thing I will say about this sketchbook, so I will show you the whole process in the haul video, but it doesn't actually lay flat. It has a very hard time opening, and so if you have one of these and you have had a hard time actually making it lay flat, what I did is I went to the back, so I didn't do it from the front because I didn't want to wreck the, you know, the look of it from the front, like as you open the front page. But I actually just took a craft knife and I cut down the back seam of the binding, trying to stay as far away from the binding as I can. So again, like I'll show you in the next video. But yeah, it opens fine. I put some washi tape on the areas that I'd cut so it looks a bit more tidy. And yeah, now I can actually use it, I can open it, and I really love it. The quality of this sketchbook is also really beautiful. I also just think the design is really beautiful. The little bit of stitching, yeah, and just the way that it closes, the closure itself, it's really lovely. So yeah, and I really enjoy that the paper isn't white as well. So yeah, and you can see that on this paper, and I have just stuck with a simpler design. There's a lot less layers, and I have used pencil as well. So yeah, this is a page where I was trying out some neo colors, and they work really beautifully on it, and I was trying pastels which don't really work that well on it, but yeah, you can see the two very different results there. And then, so now we're moving on to the Holbein White Ibis. So I love this paper. I love these sketchbooks. You only get a very few pages in them. I think it's 12 pages, so 24 back and front. And yeah, but it's a really beautiful paper to work on. So in these three sketchbooks, this is where I take my time. So if I am so I'll wait till I kind of have something that I really want to try well, and I am not just needing a quick sort of you know, more sketchy or more just trying things out. So for example, you'll see kind of in the last few sketchbooks that we go through, they're more sort of rough and tumble, like I can just pull them out. It doesn't matter how many pages I use. It doesn't matter if I, you know, just do a few things and kind of mess it up and I'm just trying different composition things or whatever. But when I pull these three sketchbooks out, I'm really wanting to work on something that's a little bit more time consuming, that I'm putting a little bit more effort into. And like I'm really trying to work on technique and things like that. So yeah, so you can see here that I started this one with a frame instead of the like rectangle, and then I have put this color wheel kind of peeking out from the side, and I am kind of going through, like I'm not really sure at this point. I think this video took me about 8 hours all up to film. That's without editing and things like that. So at this point I was struggling a little bit, and I just wasn't sure. You can see like yeah, anyway, I just wasn't sure. So I go along, and I'm just kind of trying different things here. And for example, like the way that I'm doing this would normally be in one of the other sketchbooks, but yeah, so anyway, I just wanted you to be able to see the paper and see it in action, so with, you know, a variety of different things. But when I did the colour wheel, I wasn't really happy with the way everything was coming together, so I just sort of keep going. And that's the interesting thing about art, is that you can keep going and just kind of let something sit in the back of your mind and just let it simmer there and think about how you could change that, or how you could make that a little bit more cohesive. So I'm thinking this whole time about the blue, and I really like how the blue actually dried. So I was trying to think if I could keep that. You can see like this is time lapse, but I was sitting here for quite a while just thinking about whether I would keep it or whether I should cover it up. And then I really liked it, but I figured that by the time I changed everything else in the painting to match that, it would just be easier to cover up the blue. So I end up putting more olive greens there in that part of the colour wheel. But I still haven't decided yet, so I keep going with the page. And that's, you know, one of the things that I kind of wanted you to see with paintings as well. If you're stuck, you know, you can just keep going, and there's often a way to like change or fix something that you're not loving. So don't be afraid to, you know, change something. You don't have to scrap the whole thing and then start again. Quite often you'll find that if something isn't working and then you kind of think about it and go back, that could end up being one of your favorite things. So okay, so you can see what I've done with the pastels, and yeah, I just continue kind of at building the same way that we've been doing, building layers of watercolor, building layers of pastels. So, and this is more about color and like finding color and looking for color as well. So I wasn't really loving some of the things the way this turned out, but like the leaves, I really didn't take much time to do them, but I really loved the way that the top leaves, like the color there was the hot pink on that kind of dusty brown. But yeah, so I keep just adding little bits of pastel, little bits of watercolor, bits of pencil, and like this would be a really nice project to just keep open on your desk and just add to it every day. So if you don't have much time, you can just, you know, spend 10 or 20 minutes and just add a few things and kind of start building and layering and thinking about how, you know, the interplay of colour and line and mediums and things like that. So I think at this point I just take my dip pen as well. Oh, actually I didn't, so I just used a really fine paintbrush and I just painted. I think that's actually Nibs Katia, the colour that I used, the sort of silvery holographic colour. Yeah, and again, like, this isn't a finished piece. This is something where I am just experimenting and yeah, really enjoying it. So this is a piece of wax paper, just your regular roll of kitchen paper, and I have just torn that off and I've actually put it on there with a little heart brad, you can see there. So I just poked that right through the page, so it will actually show up on the other page of the sketchbook paper, but I figure with something so large like this, I'll just be bound to have sort of pieces of paper going everywhere, so I just wanted that secured in there so the pastel wasn't rubbing everywhere. Yeah, so now we are going on to the Holbein sketching book. So this one isn't for watercolour, so I was interested to see you know, how watercolour would do on this paper, and it actually does quite well. So rather than cotton, I think this is more of a cellulose paper, but it took the watercolour very well. It took everything well. But this is ink, again that FW shimmering green. So this is the largest sketchbook that I have. I think this is like 16 by 13 or something like that. And I'm really not usually used to having this much space to play with, so I wasn't really sure what to even do with all this space. But yeah, so I am just painting kind of a very simple landscape here with a couple of hills, and what's interesting about this is there's not really a lot of compositional elements in the painting. It's mainly just these two hills, but it's really the colors. So I really enjoyed it. It's like just a quiet countryside, really beautiful scene, and it reminded me of so we moved quite a few times between Brisbane and Sydney, and my dad really loves Brisbane and my mum really loves Sydney, and quite a few times I had to drive by myself between the two cities, and so usually I would take our husky. So I'm not advocating road tripping on your own these days, especially. I think it's quite dangerous, but yeah, but it just was really lovely, like the scenery, the soft kind of rolling hills, and that the gentle colors, and yeah, this really reminded me of that. So Okay, so that is it for the actual sketchbooks. And yeah, I hope that this kind of gave you a couple of ideas of some things that you can try. And you know, one of the difficult things is figuring out what you want to paint and how you want to paint it. And so I would just consider going back to what inspires you. What do you really, you know, and you might see other people painting and you think, oh, I really love their painting, but what do you want to paint? Like what, you know, is there a particular flower that has meaning for you? Is there a particular place that has meaning for you? And start practicing it and learning about it, and you know, trying it in different colors and from different angles and things. So okay, so the first group of sketchbooks here is the Moleskine. This one I've talked about a little bit, so I have been taking this one. This is the A5 Sakura limited edition, and I've been taking this with me just in my bag, and it's really not been nice to just have this kind of a sort of a sketchbook that isn't precious. There's lots and lots of pages, and I can just kind of use a page and then turn to the next one. Like I don't feel like I have to finish a sketch. I'm not worried about, you know, wasting a page or anything like that. So I really have been enjoying having this, and I for quite a few years I actually forgot about these, so I haven't really bought any of these for maybe 4 or 5 years. But I remembered when I was doing the sketchbook, all my sketchbooks videos, I remembered that I really enjoyed having one of these to just use and kind of try different things in. So this is just one of my pages at the back where I can just try the different pencils and, you know, whatever things I'm kind of thinking about. But yeah, and so what I do is I also close the bottom of the pages, so I'll put 2 together with either glue or double-sided tape, because the pages are so thin as well. So then I also take this pencil tin. Pretty much what I take is this pencil tin and that Moleskine, and it's just a really simple, compact setup to just take anywhere and just pull out. You can see here, like this is one of my old ones from like 2016. So I really used to love the Moleskine K here. I'm not sure, but you'd get like a 2-pack, and yeah, I just would really enjoy using these, and yeah, so I went through quite a few, and I'd always just get the white ones at that stage. I would just always get the white ones. So but yeah, anyway, what we'll do is, because these all have very similar kind of paper, we'll just go through and we will sort of quickly paint some roses. We're going to use the same, so you can kind of see, you know, similarities or differences in the paper quality. We're going to use the same kind of 4 colours or 5 colours. So it's the peach pop, which you can see there, which is just this beautiful vibrant peach colour, opera rose, and then French ochre, Daniel Smith French ochre. The opera rose, the Winsor & Newton one I found has the most like hot pink pigment in it, the neon pink. It's got, I think, more pigment than any of the others. And then I'm just using the gold ink to, you know, add leaves in. So again, that's just another option that you can kind of do, you know, try what am I saying? Combine different mediums for different parts of the picture or the painting or the artwork. So this next one is the Velvet Raptor one. So this has kind of replaced my little Sennelier one. So I have a flip through of that on the channel, but I really loved having that little, it's just a little A6 one. And yeah, this is a very expensive, so this was actually going to be in my gift guide, I think, for last Christmas, but I don't think it arrived in time for when I was filming. So it's just been kind of sitting there since then, and I really just want to use this for something special. So I haven't really pulled it out yet, but I really love looking at it. And yeah, so this actually has the whitest paper of any of these, and it actually does hold watercolor quite nicely, and it is just a really beautiful little, more like an heirloom sketchbook. So this would be one again where I would take consideration of what I'm painting in here and take some more effort for things that I'm using it for. So yeah, if you want something that's just a little bit extra, this is a really beautiful option, and it's not something that is too precious that like I won't use it. It's just something that I'll be more thoughtful, you know, when and how I use it. So yeah, the next one that we have here is a Leuchtturm. So this one is, I think, the limited edition lilac one, and I wanted to get one because this year, so this is my planner for this year, you can see like I've got the silk ribbons just put in there with a little brad, and I really like having the ribbons there. It's just nice and soft to when you pick it up. But yeah, so this is what I've been using as my planner. There's more videos on this at the beginning of the year. But I have this monthly Leuchtturm, and at the beginning of the year I was just using like doing a square a day, and you can see like this is kind of where I started this idea of this color garden. But I really enjoyed using this, and I really enjoy using pencil on it. You can see here it takes neo colors really well. It takes watercolor, but I just prefer probably pencil and neo color in it. And ink, it takes really nicely. So we have a few pencil videos on, I think that was my 12 favorite pencils was that page. But yeah, so I'll show you here with the how watercolor goes on it. And you don't need this many of this kind of notebook. I just got a few of these because the colors that I liked the colors, you know, at the time, and they're limited edition, so the lilac may not be available next year. You know, the sakura ones may not be available, but the and so yeah, these kind of sketchbooks will probably last me for another 5 or 6 years, so I'm not you know, planning on getting any more of these for a while. But it's just really nice to be able to grab something that is, you know, very easy to use. But so something else I was going to say. I think, and I really like the, so both Moleskine and Leuchtturm do sketchbooks, so with probably thicker paper and, you know, more suited for that. But I've just found that the soft cover ones really do the job for me. They're not, you know, too bulky, and they just keep all these ideas together. So I think out of the Leuchtturm and the Moleskine, I prefer the Leuchtturm as well. So, but this is a little art creations one. So this is by Royal Talens. These are available really widely. They're very affordable, and they are a lovely sketchbook. So again, like, the cover is never my favorite, but just the material anyway. But yeah, this has very cream paper, which is something that I'm not as used to, so you know, that's just something to consider. But for the price of it and the fact that you can just kind of go through the pages and, you know, try different things, it's a really good one. And then this one, out of this whole group, would probably be my favorite. So these are Tinne+Mia ones, and yeah, just a really beautiful, like, this is kind of a travel's notebook style, so you get 3 inserts, dotted, lined and grid, and the paper's FSC certified. And yeah, I just really like these. So if I kind of hadn't gotten any of the other ones, that, and kind of realized that would be my go-to one, that I would just pretty much use those, I think. And then this one here is a observer's notebook. So this is just an interesting one. This is from Princeton Press, and you can see here that it's got all these different, like, grids and ledgers. And I think this one would be really nice as like an art journal. So you could even fill in some of the, like, ledgers to make them look older, and then start to build up the page. So it kind of gives you something to start with, which I really like. A few years ago, my brother was dating a girl whose grandfather was a mathematician, and he was the math professor, and he wrote all the textbooks for his university and other universities. And it would just be really interesting having discussions about, like, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio and things like that. So I really like these kind of places where, if you're, you know, scientifically inclined, you can go in here and collate information and you know, just look at different things. So yeah, it's just another layer or facet to, you know, creating, observing, and yeah, just looking at, you know, the relationship of different things and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and you can see that going through the different sketchbooks, I tried to show you a different part of the process of painting these roses. So for some reason, I lost the footage from this actual thing. So I'm actually doing this, if you notice, in the Leuchtturm. This is my monthly, the actual planner that I'm using at the minute, just to show you this different step. So that's all for the video about the actual sketchbooks. I hope that was interesting. It's really hard to find, I think, kind of the perfect sketchbook, or the right, you know, size, or the right paper, or, you know, the right combination. And so we all have kind of slightly different preferences. So yeah, hopefully there is something in here that you will find that you might like. And let's see, if you have tried any of these sketchbooks, let us know what you thought of them and how you're liking them or using them. And so I also wanted to say that it is December coming up pretty quickly. So I wanted to show you this as well. So When I say that, like, sometimes the notebooks come and they have quite a bad smell, I put that little essential oil thing there, and you don't have to have like a candle one, you can just have a little dish with some essential oils, and if it smells quite bad, I put paper towel over the top of it as well. So I'm just showing you here, this is a little sneak peek of the landscape course that is coming, and yeah, I wanted to get this out so that hopefully you could maybe paint some of these for either Christmas or to hang in your home as gifts and things like that, but I'm working on it, so hopefully it will come together. And the other thing that I wanted to say is December's coming, so next week on Thursday is December 1st, I think. So I am going to try and do the 12 days of Christmas. We'll see. I have 12 videos I'd like to do. Yeah, you can see, like, we in the course we like look at different palettes, and this is like a chinoiserie inspired painting, and so there's lots of different things in the course. It's landscape kind of through my lens. Yeah, I hope you guys will like it, but what was I saying? So I've got enough like ideas for 12 videos for December, so we'll see how it goes. I might try and just do 3 a week up to the new year, starting on December 1st. So yeah, we'll see how that all goes. I know a few of you have been asking about weekly videos, so at least for now you will be having weekly, if not several videos a week, you know, for the next, up until the new year. So yeah, and then I've been getting questions about the watercolors as well, so I'm hoping that I can have a batch done either by March or April next year, so, and hopefully with international shipping. So that's kind of the plan, if all goes that way. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in the next video on December 1st, hopefully. Bye.